Well, the whole situation with Brexit is just gotten out of control, and I'm pretty sure a lot of my viewers and subscribers who happen to be from the UK would agree with me on this. What I'm talking about, basically, for anyone who doesn't understand, is recently the House of Commons passed a bill which basically prevents Boris Johnson from doing a no-deal Brexit. Currently, currently the deadline for Brexit is October 31st, and that would signal the beginning of a no-deal Brexit with the EU. However, Labour MPs, including the Liberal Democrats, as well as 21 Tory rebels in Parliament, Tory or a Conservative, whatever the hell you'd like to call them, basically said no and decided to pass this. Just yesterday, this was passed by the House of Lords, and I'm not sure whether or not the Queen needs to sign off the bill. I would probably think so, but I would like it if anyone would confirm me with that down in the comments below. But this basically hands Boris Johnson a short-term defeat. I will explain how I think this is a short-term defeat in the later part of this video, but nonetheless, it's a major short-term blow because he was hoping to get this deal passed by October 31st. In fact, that was the reason why he decided to suspend Parliament in the first place, and even calling for some general elections. However, this also has caused Boris Johnson to lose a House majority because these 21 Conservative MPs decided to rebel. He basically fired them, meaning that since they didn't follow the plan of the Conservative Party to vote a specific way, they now cannot run in the next election as Conservatives. So now they're basically independents who happen to be also Remainers. This is basically the same situation I've seen in Italy, where Matteo Salvini was ousted from power because the Five Star Movement, who prides themselves on being an anti-establishment political party, decided to form coalition with the left-leaning Democratic Party. This forced Matteo Salvini out of power for the time being, and the new government is now trying to dispose of many of the policies that Matteo Salvini established, such as restricting immigration. But we're not here to talk about Italy. We're here to talk about the UK. Like I said before, this prevents a no-deal Brexit from occurring because what specifically said in the bill was that they need a deal. They left no option for a no-deal Brexit, and that is a problem considering that the EU basically holds all the advantages and all the concessions. You can thank Theresa May for putting the United Kingdom in that state due to the fact that she was trying to toe between the lines of the Remainers and the Brexiteers. But as a result of this, as a course of massive outrage over the prevention of a no-deal Brexit, Boris Johnson has called on general elections. Now, at the moment, the House of Commons has said no to this. With the vote being about 298 against with 56 for. And that is, again, this is a major issue that the UK has been dealing with. Having 3 years without Brexit is hard enough, but now Labour and the Liberal Democrats, as well as the rebellious Tories, decided to screw over everyone and just made it more complicated. And again, this only gives sessions to the EU, considering that they don't really need to bargain with the UK. They have all the power when it comes to um trade as well as economics. It's really funny considering how Labour MPs such as Jeremy Corbyn have especially been vocal about staying with the EU or even leaving with a deal where there's some sort of arrangement with the EU, all because he doesn't like the idea of starting to trade with the United States, which I think is rather ridiculous considering that we have a special relationship, and that would actually benefit both of us. But I'm digressing here. Boris Johnson obviously called for the general elections, and the House of Parliament actually said no to this. They rejected his request. The reason why, the reason why this was the case, especially from the point of view of Labour and the Liberal Democrats, is basically the Conservatives are very high in the polls. They are about 41%, while Labour is at 36%, and the Brexit Party is actually overtaking the Liberal Democrats. The Brexit Party, the one by Nigel, which is currently led by Nigel Farage, and definitely has a strong presence in the European Union, EU Parliament. And that's why a lot of them said no to these general elections, despite the fact that both Liberal Democrats as well as Labour called on elections earlier before. That is a load of hypocrisy right there. When Boris Johnson finally decides to say we shall have elections, they say no. It's kind of funny how they easily change their minds. But to continue on. Sorry here. I actually wrote this down. There has actually been Boris Johnson has actually gotten a lot of criticism for what he's done, especially with suspending Parliament as well as calling for general elections. Basically, a lot of critics have been saying that this is a subversion of democracy, or that Johnson is just another sort of Donald Trump, which is, again, it's really weird, considering that, again, like I said before, the referendum that occurred 3 years ago had 52% voting to leave the EU. Again, it's contradictory. He suspends Parliament until near Brexit, and yet he's called a person who subverts democracy. I don't know. It's crazy at this point. But I mentioned earlier that this is a short-term game for both Labour and the Liberal Democrats, because there is no majority government here. That means there is a possibility that elections may occur possibly this year, possibly later this year. Although I can't say for certain when or at what or if it occurs after Brexit, though I wouldn't be surprised. Here's the thing. Because of the poll, Conservatives are ahead of Labour, and Brexit is ahead of the Liberal Democrats. I believe placing the Brexit Party in third place. If that is true, then both the Conservatives and the Brexit Party have a good advantage to when it comes to parliamentary elections, because recently Nigel Farage expressed an interest to form a coalition with the Conservative Party under Boris Johnson. This way, they not only have the populist support, they also would obviously show that they are committed to Brexit, and that this is likely to have a major boost in the share of votes. Because, like I said before, Labour and the Liberal Democrats are not having a good time right now when it comes to polls. they're likely to lose seats right now if there was a general election. And considering if the coalition, this coalition itself does occur, this would definitely provide the boost that Boris Johnson needs in order to get a no-deal Brexit. All he needs to do is to pass a new law saying that he wants a no-deal Brexit, and then that'll be sent to the House of Lords, and then it becomes law. Again, like I said before, I don't know if the Queen of England needs to sign off on that bill, but nonetheless, it will become law, considering that the House of Lords wouldn't really have too much power as well as the Queen herself. Again, Labour would likely to lose as a result of this. And they're already losing, believe it or not. Because a lot of people are dissatisfied for what they did. They have left out the idea of a no-deal Brexit. They said specifically that they want a deal, despite the fact that 3 times before, under Theresa May's administration, no deal was ever passed or approved. And this basically hands over the keys of Brexit, and as well as a lot of concessions to the EU. But for right now, this is just a short-term game. I think it's going to act the same. I believe that the UK will act the same way as Italy. There's going to be massive dissatisfaction from what has happened, and people will go to the polls and vote just to show their frustration. They're already showing their frustration now with a lot of the protests at Westminster. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Brexit Party and the Conservative Party gain a massive share of seats in Parliament. This is only a short-term game for the Liberal Democrats and Labour. But that is all it's going to be. Because eventually, this will bite them in the ass. And I can't wait until that happens. Because if that happens, then Brexit may just be one step ahead of actually being reality. My name is Omi, and I the Truth. Please post your comments down below, like this video, subscribe, and share with your friends. Also, if you have any issues with how I make my videos, or how I speak, or any suggestions whatsoever, please be sure to either post them down in the comments below, or just directly message me. Thank you.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain.